In a small town lived a young man named Adil, known for his quiet nature and simple life. Every morning he passed by an old fruit seller, Baba Karim, whose stall had fewer customers each day. One cold morning, Adil noticed the old man struggling to lift a heavy crate. Without thinking twice, he rushed forward, helped him arrange the stall, and bought a few apples even though he didn't really need them. Baba Karim smiled warmly and said, "Son, kindness always returns. Maybe not today, but when you need it the most." Adil didn't pay much attention, but those words stayed with him. Weeks later, life took a difficult turn. Adil lost his job when the company suddenly shut down. He applied everywhere but received no response. Days passed, savings ended, and hardship grew heavier. One morning, tired and hopeless, he sat at a park bench thinking, maybe nothing good will ever happen. At that moment, a familiar voice called out, "Adil, is everything all right?" It was Baba Karim. After listening to Adil's situation, the old man handed him a small slip of paper. "Go to this address. Tell them I sent you." Confused but desperate, Adil went. The address led him to a community center where a charity organization was hiring. They urgently needed someone responsible, honest, and compassionate. Adil got the job instantly. Later, he returned to thank Baba Karim. The old man simply smiled and said, "See, kindness always finds its way back." With time, Adil worked hard, excelled, and eventually became the manager of the entire center. Whenever someone came seeking help, he remembered the lesson that changed his life: a small act of kindness can become a turning point not just for others, but for the sun had barely risen when Ayaan stood at the doorway of his small one-room house, breathing in the quiet morning air. His mother was asleep inside, exhausted from working late nights at the garment factory. Ayaan tied his worn-out shoes, picked up his school bag, and whispered a promise into the chilly wind: "One day, things will be different." Ayaan was an average student in the eyes of everyone. Neither brilliant nor hopeless, just someone who existed quietly in the background. But he carried a spark inside him, a stubborn little flame that whispered, "Keep trying. You're closer than you think." Every morning, he walked 6 kilometers to school because he didn't have money for transport. He could have used those long walks to complain about life, but instead, he trained his mind. He repeated words he had learned the night before, solved math problems in his head, and imagined the future he wanted to build. But life had no intention of making things easy. His classmates made jokes about his faded uniform and simple lunch. His teachers often said, "Ayaan, you must try harder," unaware of how hard he was already trying. Still, he never argued, never complained. He only smiled and tried again. One evening, when he came home from school, he found his mother sitting silently, her eyes red. She had lost her job. The factory was shutting down. Their world, already fragile, began to crack. Ayaan packed away his books and went out searching for part-time work. For the next few weeks, he spent his evenings stacking boxes at a warehouse. The pay was small, but every coin mattered. He returned home past midnight, studied for an hour, and slept only a few hours before school. He was exhausted, but his dream was alive. One night, while carrying heavy cartons, he stumbled and fell. His shoulder throbbed, and the supervisor shouted at him, "If you can't handle it, leave." Ayaan stood up, wiped the dust off his clothes, and whispered the same line he had whispered many times during his hardest moments: "This is not where I stop." But something inside him was breaking. The stress, the exhaustion, the endless struggle, it all piled up. His grades dropped. Teachers lost faith in him. Classmates mocked him even more. And then came the day that almost ended everything. Ayaan failed an important exam. He stared at the paper, his hands trembling. All his effort, all those sleepless nights, ruined. He walked home slowly, feeling as if the world was laughing at him. That evening, as he sat outside the house, he finally let the frustration spill out. "Why me?" he whispered. "I try so hard, so why do I keep falling?" His neighbor, an old retired school teacher named Mr. Rahim, had been watching him struggle silently for years. He walked over and sat beside Ayaan. "You look like someone carrying a mountain," the old man said softly. Ayaan nodded, tears spilling down his cheeks. Mr. Rahim placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "My boy, let me tell you something. People think progress comes from big leaps. But 99% of success is built by small, invisible steps nobody appreciates. The world doesn't clap for you during the journey. It claps only at the finish line." Ayaan looked up, confused. "But I failed, doesn't that mean I'm not capable?" "No," Mr. Rahim smiled. "Failure means you were close enough to be tested. It means life is checking if you deserve the next level. The last 1% is always the hardest. If you survive it, you win." Those words, the last 1%, struck something deep inside him. That night, Ayaan opened his books again. Not because he wasn't tired, he was. But because something inside him refused to quit. He divided his day: school, work, study. He practiced focus. He stopped comparing himself to others. He began learning from free online lectures. He studied during lunch breaks. He wrote motivational quotes on scraps of paper and kept them in his pockets. Slowly, very slowly, things began to shift. His marks improved. His confidence grew. Teachers began noticing his effort. He stopped reacting to his classmates' jokes. Months passed. Then came the final exams, his last chance to change his life. On the day of the exam, his mother held his hands and said, "I don't need you to become great. I just need you to never give up." He hugged her tightly. "I won." The exam hall was cold. His hands shook as he wrote. But this time, his mind was steady. He remembered Mr. Rahim's words, "The last 1% is always the hardest." He pushed through. When results day arrived, Ayaan didn't even check the list. He closed his eyes, too afraid to look. A teacher walked toward him with a soft smile. "Ayaan, congratulations." His heart froze. "You topped the district." He stood still, not blinking, not breathing. He opened the result sheet with trembling fingers. His name was right there at the top. His classmates stared in disbelief. His mother cried uncontrollably. Even the supervisor from the warehouse, who happened to be there, looked shocked. Ayaan walked home that day not as the boy who was mocked, doubted, or underestimated, but as the boy who proved that quiet effort can be louder than noise. When he reached home, Mr. Rahim was sitting outside, reading a book. Ayaan dropped his bag, rushed to the old man, and hugged him. "I did it," he whispered. The old man smiled warmly. "No, my boy. You didn't do it today. You did it the day you decided not to quit." By the next year, Ayaan earned a scholarship for higher studies. His life took a new direction. But he never forgot the journey. He never forgot the nights he worked until exhaustion. He never forgot the neighbors who helped him, the teachers who doubted him, the failures that shaped him. And most importantly, he never forgot the last 1%. Because whenever he faced a new challenge, college exams, job interviews, responsibilities, setbacks, he whispered to himself, I'm just in the last 1%. And the last 1% always feels impossible, right before you win. Glowing star message of the story. Success doesn't come suddenly, it comes slowly, quietly, through small consistent efforts. Failure does not mean you are not capable, it means you are close. The hardest moments are often the final test before the breakthrough. The only difference between those who succeed and those who fail is not giving up in the last 1%.